Okay, we made it to the system, the measurement system. How and what should we measure for improvement, right? Hopefully, by now you're convinced that this is something you want to add to your game to really start enjoying your hobby, really start seeing improvements over the long term. So let's just dig right in and talk about, what are the comparison guidelines, right? I'm going to pull back in this graph. It's zoomed in on that Ricky Fowler data from earlier. This is a season stretch in 2014 where Ricky got a lot better by tour standards and made a lot of money as a result. And the guidelines you're going to use, the basic kind of oversimplified takeaway from this course is that when it comes to getting better at golf, you need to compare large samples to large samples, right? And we're going to talk about what that looks like. I'm going to give you a tool to help you do it. Um, This is a necessary component to stopping the reversion or the give up. All of the, well, this isn't working anymore. I need to hire a new coach. I need a new swing idea. You don't. Chances are you've already paid for really good advice. You just were never able to implement it. So, how do we track? We've got two methods we're going to use. One is just regular old golf, 18-hole tracking, right? You'll see in the spreadsheet that we're going to use 5 rounds as kind of our baseline. You're going to compare 5 rounds of golf to 5 rounds of golf. And so in a given round of golf, 18 holes, right, you're probably going to hit somewhere in the neighborhood of, depending on how good you are, you're going to hit around 40 full shots, right? So in the case of 5 rounds, you're going to hit something like 200 full shots. So what you're going to end up comparing is something like a set of 200 shots to 200 shots. This is a very reasonable way to start looking at your data. Um, if you only play 9 holes, you can just put 9 holes in at a time and combine them and capture the data that way. The other method we're going to use, I want you to, every time you go out and practice, we're going to end every practice session with a 10 ball test, right? And every 10 sessions or every 100 balls, again, the spreadsheet will keep you in line and show you how this works. You're going to compare your data, right? The method's going to be fairly simple. You're going to simulate golf, right? You're going to switch targets and switch clubs every shot. You're basically going to play kind of 5 mini holes, right? 5 par 4s, if you will. You'll hit 5 drivers, 2 short irons, 2 mid irons, 1 long iron. Do your full routine every shot. Again, make sure you switch targets. Make sure you switch clubs every time. And if you can even switch in large measures, so aim one side of the range, aim to the other side of the range, that will help too with simulating. And get those 100 ball samples that we compare to other 100 ball samples. You can really start to embed some commitment and some long-term mindset into the way you practice. So how exactly does the tracking on the range work, right? The core stuff's pretty easy. It's just an 18-hole score. But on the range itself, we're going to use an 80-20 rule for our 10 ball test. We're basically going to get a score out of 10 shots as the thing we're going to measure, right? So if you hit 7 good shots and 3 bad shots, your score is a 7 for that day. But what constitutes a good shot? And we're going to create basically a target circle, an imaginary target circle out on the range. And we're going to use this 20% rule as a way, as a standard. So at 250 yards, let's say that's what your driver does on average. Take 20% of 250 and you get 50 yards or 150 feet. And then I want you to imagine or kind of plot out on the range. You can use your range finder to do this, or just kind of reasonably estimate, eyeball it if you will, a 150-foot diameter circle, both left to right and short and long. And if you hit the ball in the circle, right, this would represent a drive that's going to be in play in most cases. you get 1 point, right? It's pretty much all there is to it. 100 yards, right? If you're hitting a wedge, 100 yards, 20% in this case is 20 yards or 60 feet. So you've got 30 feet either side of your target, short, long, left, and right. That's how you're going to keep track. All right, in the next video, let's talk about the spreadsheet.